Hello friends, and welcome to the Abandoned Bank. I'm glad you're here. Today is going to be a productive day. Well, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon right now. I've finally finished fetching all the parts and pieces that I needed to, because today we're going to set up the gas service for the building. And I've got this planned out pretty good. I think I have every single item that I need. No more trips to the store. Well, there is one more trip to the store. Something I found out about today that I wasn't aware of. I need to provide a pressure test valve. I didn't know I needed the pressure test valve until I called the permitting department and asked for the inspection tomorrow. I haven't even started the project yet. I think it's going to be pretty simple. And for those of you that have no idea about gas service or what the heck, how it all goes together, well, I'll show you today. I've done a lot of research myself, and this is something I have never done before. Never did anything besides hook up a gas dryer or a water heater once or twice. I've never built a system, had no idea. I made some phone calls, did some Googling. I drew up the plans, they got approved, and here we are. I think this is going to be a pretty quick process. I think so. I think so. We'll see. Here is the drawing I made up for the gas phase 1, which I don't know what phase 2 is. We don't have any appliances besides this heater up here. You see the yellow line here that represents the gas line. It is going to change just a little bit. We're going to change directions of the line, but that's not going to make a difference to the permit, man. I've got the dimensions of everything there. It's what it's made of. 1 1/4 inch black iron down to 1/2 inch. And that is what you see here. This is the whole setup. I labeled, starting from the incoming gas, it's a 3/4 inch line that's going to this reducer. There's a sediment trap here. And then we have a small little jog until we get to the main shutoff for the whole building. These are typically red or yellow handled shutoff. And then we have another little jog to where we'll have service for something else in the future, possibly. I'm just thinking ahead so I don't have to cut line and do anything later. Then this long piece is attached in between here. This is at the top near the ceiling. And we're going to go across to our shutoff valve, to our reducer, and then to this flexible line that will eventually land here to the heater. This is another sediment trap. Learned most of this from Mr. Google. The rest of it, I called up Dominion Energy, who's our local service provider for gas and electric, and found out from a very nice couple of people exactly how to do this. And that making the trunk, which is that main large part of the pipe, that's a 1 1/4 inch pipe. It's pretty big. Now, I'm planning for the future. If there was anything that required big amounts of gas, then we're ready for it. But it's not going to do anything like overpower the system or anything. It's a pretty low pressure system, I think between like 3 and 5 pounds. There's a different way that gas pressure is measured. It's not in PSI, it's in inches water column. So 5 to 7 inches water column, IWC. That really didn't mean much to me. It still is confusing. I'm not going to go into that part of it, but basically when they come out to test, they're going to put air in the system, and it's got to be like 5 pounds of pressure for 30 minutes. And if it passes that test with no leaks, then we're good to go. I'm going to start the timer as soon as I pick up the first tool and see how long this job actually takes. Speaking of tools, I have all of my tools laid out. I've got little parts and pieces for screwing in our unistrut. That's how we're going to attach it to the wall. I'll show you that a little bit. I've got my drill for going through the block wall, other drills, pipe wrenches, drill bit, everything I can think of. There's probably something else I'm going to have to go fetch. Okay, put my earbuds in. These fit great underneath my hearing protection. So I'm going to turn on some Grateful Dead and then hit start on the timer. And here we go. Now the first thing I have to do is break a hole through this wall. This is where the old gas line used to come through. It was just stuccoed in and patched in. So I don't think it's going to be too hard to get through the wall. I've got a good drill for this. Let's just go for it. Okay. Well, I've got one small hole through. It's 8.5 inches, and I've got to sleeve this gas line coming in. You can't just put the pipe through the wall. So we got to put a sleeve around it, which I'm going to use some of the leftover piping from the water installation that we did a few weeks back. It's a Schedule 80 1.5 inch pipe. It's going to work just perfectly. So I'll go outside and mark it on the wall and start cutting from the outside. Here's our hole in the wall that I just made, and it's right above what used to be the incoming gas. It came from underground. A lot of the buildings around here have this feature. Here is the current incoming gas. They're just going to make it work. So he said, put a line through the wall wherever you want, a couple feet away, and we'll just add the regulator, the meter, and you're good to go. So that's what we're doing. Easier than I thought. That's all we need. This is the 3/4 pipe and how it will sit in that sleeve going through the wall. And we're gonna have about that much sticking out. If I have to get a longer pipe, then I'll just run down to the store and get one. They sell these in pre-cut lengths, but I went ahead and got all of this pipe cut custom. The only piece on this whole project that was pre-cut was this one right here. It was very small. The rest of this, all the rest of the pipe, I had it custom cut at a local metal shop, Price's Metal Shop. It is one of the greatest hardware stores that I've ever been into in my life. In another video, I will be taking you on a tour there. I've already recorded it, had a great time, but it is a really cool place. So you just tell them what kind of pipe you need, how long, and they thread it for you. It's $5 per threading, and it was $4 a foot for the large pipe, to give you an idea. So this is a 5-foot pipe, and it costs 20 bucks and $5 for each end to get threaded. That is much cheaper than going to the orange or blue store or other places that will sell you a longer piece, and then you can have them cut it and thread it, but you're gonna have to pay for the whole amount, and then you're gonna have a lot of leftover. This means that we don't have any scrap, and we're very efficient with our funds on this project because of it. Each of these fittings cost between $2 and $5 a piece. These specialty tees, 1 1/4 tees, were I think $10 a piece, and the other fittings, I think this was about $6 for this 3/4 inch shut off. I got most of this at Price's Metal Shop, and some of it I got on a website called supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is a really great place to get plumbing parts, especially if you know ahead of time and you have a plan of exactly what you want. You can really save a lot of money going there. They do not sponsor this video. They probably should, but they don't. However, I did partner with a company on this video, which really helps out the project a lot. You might notice that I'm wearing these earbuds. I got another early Christmas gift for myself, these Raycon Everyday Earbuds. These are really awesome, especially for the price. Oh my gosh, they sound amazing. These fit right inside the hearing protection that I use. These little powerful babies are dust resistant, which is a really good thing for me on a job like this. And they're water resistant too. So if you're working out or doing something where you're sweating a lot, you can still keep these in your ear, and easily too, because they have these form-fitting pads on them. They send you a couple different sizes. So after like thousands of scans that they did on people's ears around the world, they came up with the most ergonomical mold for these. And then they give you a couple other options that make it even more form-fitting to your specific ear. So I'm using the ones they came with. They're the most common size. And, you know, common guy like me, fit perfect. I picked out this green pair. I just like the color. And I got this like protective cover that they offer. And you just slip right into your case and charge. Really cool. And another really cool feature is you can talk on the phone on these. They have touch features where you can turn up the volume, down the volume, change songs, things that you would expect from earbuds of this quality, but you can answer the phone and talk very clearly. So when Sarah's calling me, oh, hey, honey, yeah, we're under budget, and we're getting it done a lot faster than what we thought. Yeah, okay, love you too, bye. It's very convenient. Friends, if you want to try some of these Raycon earbuds yourself, go over to buyraycon.com/DraysWorld. You can also go to the description of this video and find a link there that'll take you right to their webpage. You're going to find some great deals. You're not going to be disappointed in these. They sound amazing. These are active noise canceling headphones for a price that you cannot beat. Go check them out. Tell them your friend Dre sent you. And I'm going to get back to work. What I'll be doing first is attaching all of this black iron together. There's like 1 or 2 pieces of galvanized fittings, but that can be used interchangeably in this type of system. I'm going to be attaching all this together with this stuff here. It's called Real Tough. It's a pipe thread sealant, otherwise known as pipe dope. And you just put a little bit on the male side of each of the fittings, and you're good to go. It's going to make a great seal, but not so strong that you can't take it apart in the future. Something else I'd like to point out is that on these threads, they're not an even thread all the way across. You couldn't just spin a bolt all the way across, up and down. It's tapered. So the very end of this is a little bit thinner than the outside. You have your material here, and then it starts to degrade down. So you can start the thread in, and then it will eventually tighten. The threading process on this isn't so detailed, but you got to really pay attention when you're doing it. If you thread too far, then this fitting would bottom out in whatever you're putting it into, and that cannot happen. It's got to be tapered to a certain degree so it makes the best seal possible so nothing leaks. You especially don't want gas to be leaking into your space. That would be a terrible thing. I almost forgot one thing. We're eventually going to paint this wall white. We're going to save the parts where the handwriting was. If you saw the video a couple of months back about the historical relics of the building, the old bank, well, I'm going to save those little areas, maybe put a frame around them or something. But over here, there's nothing like that, so I'm going to just clean it up a little bit, scrape it off, and then put a little bit of paint on it just in this area, so we don't have to paint behind it later on. Might look a little crazy, but it's okay. It's really okay. The paint that I'm using on this is called Loxon. It's made for block walls, and if you ever had one of those block walls where it's got this chalkiness to it, or like it's a wall like this with some old paint, well, this Loxon is going to seal that right up. It is made for this purpose. It's an excellent product. I get this at Sherwin-Williams. There's other things out there like this you can use, but in my opinion, this is the best, and it's what we've been using on the outside of the building. This is great stuff. Now I'm going to start assembling the system, and I want to show you on the first one how it's done. You don't need to use a whole lot of this, and definitely wear gloves just because it's really messy. If you get this on you, it's not pleasant. So you just apply a little bit. You don't want to get it too close to the end, because if it gets in the pipe, it could cause problems down the road. You just get it just enough on there to fill the threading, and always put it on the male part, not the female part. This would be the female. This is the male. Get a good swipe around. And then we'll tighten that with our pipe wrenches and wipe the rest of that off with a rag. And that's it. And that feels about good right there. All the pipe is assembled. It didn't take so long, maybe 25 minutes or so. The next thing we have to do is attach it to the wall, keep it stationary. So what I'm going to use is this unistrut. It's the same stuff that we use to hang the heater above me. It's really heavy duty stuff. You can see it a lot of times in industrial applications, a lot of times in ceilings, in a restaurant or a brewery or something. It's what they hang lights from, and HVAC, ductwork, and electrical applications a lot of the time. So we're going to use that, about 8-inch sections, 3 of them all the way up, and use these unistrut clamps. It's made for this unistrut, 4 1 1/4 inch pipe. Let's get to cutting. What I'm using to attach this unistrut to the wall are these Tapcons. They have this washer head on them. So it does give you some protection by putting a supplementary washer on there too, so it doesn't accidentally slip through the hole somehow. These unistrut straps are very convenient and easy to use. They just slide the teeth end right behind the rail, and you put the bolt through and tighten it up. It'll hold it really secure. This is the level that I'm using. It's a DeWalt laser level. It goes both horizontal and vertically, and it makes it very convenient to take on tasks like this and make them dead level. I use this laser level all the time. It's a little bit hard for you to see maybe down here at the bottom where the laser is touching the pipe, but I can see it's given a nice straight line all the way up. Looks like it's on the same part of the pipe, very, very plumb. I believe code states that you have to have supports at least every 8 feet. Somebody can correct me on that. It might be 10 feet, but in this case, we're going as just a short span, and I just overdid it a little bit. One of the last things we have to do is put our piping into the heater. Looking forward to trying this thing out. We may not even turn gas on for a while. You know, it's almost Christmas time, a couple days away, and today I think the high was like 60 something, 65. Beautiful day. So there's no need to turn the heat on just yet, but it does freeze here in the Peach Capital. So we're going to be using this heater at some point. Now the last piece of the puzzle is this corrugated stainless steel tube. I got this for $4 at the New Hope thrift store. One specific thing about these corrugated hoses, they are flare fittings, and you can buy these. You can buy a huge roll of this yellow and stainless steel looking corrugated tube, and they sell the fittings. They're like $25 a piece for the end caps and stuff. So you want to be careful of and plan ahead of what you're doing and not buy too many extra parts. This was a pre-made piece, so I didn't have to worry about that and buying extra stuff. But one thing I didn't know is that these flare fittings do not require thread sealant. I had a feeling just by the construction of it when I was looking at it just now. And I looked it up, sure enough, yeah, you want to keep it clear of any kind of anything because they're made just to press tight. You may have to service this at some point. I think that's probably the reason why. But other flare fittings exist for other gas applications. So that makes sense. Saves us a little mess and time. Got to clean up everything. I don't want to hit the stop on the timer before I'm totally done. I want to see how much time this job takes in total, minus driving to get the stuff. That probably took 4 hours total, going to a couple different places. Not too long. Okay. 3 hours and 34 seconds. Till right now. 3 hours and 45 seconds now. Stop. Yeah, it's getting dark early. I am going to call it an evening. I gotta make it to the orange store or the blue store, one of those two, to get a gas regulator first thing in the morning and get back here to meet the permit person. I'm very excited about this. This is gonna be great. See you in the morning. Keeping all the tools out, well, most of them, till tomorrow, just in case something goes awry and have to do some adjustments. Good morning. We're back, waiting on the inspector to come. They said it sometime today they'll be here, likely in the morning. So I'm ready. I went to the orange store. I got this. It's the pressure gauge that fits onto this 3/4 inch pipe. It's got like a, like your car has, a stem on it. You can just hook up an air hose to it. I already have the attachment for that. And instead of using the pipe dope, I'm gonna use this blue monster tape on this. I don't wanna make a mess of this while it's just sitting out here waiting for the gas company to show up whenever we decide to call them up and put a meter in. So the tape will be easy to take off and keep it all clean. And this is rated for gas. You can't use white Teflon tape on gas fittings. Pipe dope is the best option for that, but some people do use this blue monster. It's rated for that. The chemicals break down that white Teflon tape too easily, and then you'll have leaks over time. This stuff has got a chemical in it that doesn't allow that to happen. So we're gonna use this. And when you're putting tape on, there's a specific way to do it. You go with the threads, so it doesn't stick to anything, and you have to give it some tension. See, it breaks pretty easily too. Just 2 or 3 times around is fine. I did a little more than that. One important thing to note, I did not turn the gas air on, the valve, to the heater. You don't want the air to be pressurized through your appliances. So where it ends, where your gas piping ends, turn those valves off, turn your main on, and that way you're going to be able to tell if the whole system is holding pressure and there's no leaks. We're also going to use a soapy solution, just water and dish soap. I'm going to spray that around all the connection points and see if I can spot any bubbles coming out. But this should be able to tell us. I'm going to pressure this up and then wait until the inspector gets here. They only require 30 minutes of pressurized time, so we'll see if it holds pressure. And if it drops down at all from now until the time the inspector gets here, well, I know that there's going to be a problem. So we'll just go for it. I don't think there's going to be a problem though. I'm at 8 pounds pressure. It's only going to be at 5. We'll just keep it at 8. See what happens. I don't see why this couldn't hold, 100 pounds of pressure or more. I'm sure that the black pipe is rated for much higher. I'm not sure what it's rated for, but this will be no problem. There you go. Hope you can read upside down. When you're turning on and off your valves, when the handle is in alignment with the pipe, that means it's on. When it's sideways, it's off, it's blocked. I made up my soapy water, put a couple drops of, about 5 drops of dish soap in there. Shook it around pretty good. Now I'm just gonna give it a soak in here. If air comes out of these connections, then you'll see bubbles appear. On one of my trips back and forth to Price's Hardware to pick up these parts, I went into the New Hope thrift store and I found this popcorn machine. Hot butter popcorn, it says. It's got this yellow check mark on the top, which means it works. Got this thing for $15, and I thought, while I was waiting on the inspector to come, I would try out the popcorn machine for the first time. I bought a packet of the butter and the popcorn comes together, you've seen them. And as I was filling the machine, the inspector knocked on the door and said I passed. So he took a little gander and saw the gauge on the outside of the building and said it was no problem, he's going to call it in. So there we go. We passed the inspection. So I'm happy about that, especially for somebody that has never done anything like that before. It feels pretty good. Let me show you this popcorn machine and this plant rack behind me. My friends Scott and Brenda really wanted to see this, so here you go. Not the popcorn machine, so much, but it is cool. I do love having this thing around, especially for the price, my goodness. But here's the plant rack. This is all the stuff that Sarah has collected. We got some really cool plants in here, a gift from one of our friends here. Lots of these are gifts. Cool stuff. She likes to collect these containers of things, cool looking containers, and put plants in them. And behind it is a cool, this is on a rolling rack. Get it out of the way. This is something my friends made us. Paul and Kim made this cool, it's not a triptych, I don't know what you'd call it, but it unfolds. You can move it all around the room, block areas. So we have our bathroom and shower area back there behind this, which you'll see pretty soon in another video. But there it is, plant rack, blockade, cool designed, handmade blockade, and our popcorn machine. I've left the gauge on for several hours now. I've reset it because when the inspector came, he poked it a little to make sure there was actual pressure and the gauge was working. So I've reset that. I'm gonna let it sit for a couple more hours and just confirm, but it all looks great. Before we wrap it up for the day, I wanted to point out a couple of things about this system, just in case you were working on something like this yourself or had plans to do a similar project. So here you go. I mentioned earlier about the sediment trap. I wanted to point out, in case you were working on something like this is very important, that the gas direction has to change because the sediment, if you have little bits and pieces that might have worked its way inside the pipe while it was being threaded, or just dirt or whatever might come through the pipe, the likelihood of it getting trapped in this area is very high. If the gas was coming this way and going straight across, you're not very likely to have those little particles just happen to fall down in. They'll probably just go straight across. So that's why you have to change direction. When you're building a project like this, there's lots of things you can waste your money on. Don't let that be the soapy water mixture that you see sold at a lot of the stores. They get a couple bucks out of you, but you can just use your own dish soap and water. It works just the same. Also, a lot of these parts can be found at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. I mention them a lot because we go there a lot. I find a lot of great parts and pieces for things that may not have the whole system available for you, but you can definitely find valves and reducers and different couplings. All kinds of things can usually be found at the Habitat for Humanity. Total cost for the entire build was $185, and that includes $20 for fuel for me driving to and fro to fetch materials. I think that was very affordable for what we're getting out of it, to have natural gas supply here in the building, have heat, and whatever else we add to it. I think it's pretty good. I was able to source, I think, the right places to get the best prices on all these pieces and parts. I feel good about it. Most of you on your home will have a 3/4 inch incoming pipe, which you'll see here. The only reason that we used a larger one inside is to plan ahead for a larger system. But you're probably not gonna have anything larger than this on your own home. 3/4 and 1/2 inch and 3/8 fittings are available at any hardware store around you. They're really easy to come by. If you're thinking about taking on a project like this, if you have plans for something, well, I encourage you to just make some good plans, prepare yourself, and go for it. Make sure you got all your parts and pieces and your tools ready, and it'll make the job a lot easier. Having it all written down on paper really helps a lot. Wow, it's December 20th, and it's about 65 degrees out here today in the Peach Capital. What a beautiful day. Unbelievable. I really feel fortunate to live here in Johnston. What a great place. And the building is looking very grand today, especially with the Christmas tree up there. I can see the red ribbon poking through the window. Well, thanks for joining me today, friends, here at the Abandoned Bank. I appreciate your company while I set up this new system, something I've never done before. The reason I make these videos is not to claim that I'm an expert by any means. I know how to do some stuff. I'm pretty good at some stuff, but I definitely take the time to learn when I have a challenge in front of me. I will do the best I can to make it happen. I hope that is encouraging to you if you have some obstacle around your home or your building that you're trying to take on, or anything in life. That these videos help you to know that you can do it too. Because I'm just a normal guy with normal skills, like most of you out there, and I'm accomplishing some pretty good things here just by will and fortitude. It's been a really good day, very productive. Don't forget to go over to buyraycon.com/DraysWorld. You can go to the link in the description of this video and check out all the great deals they have. Definitely won't be disappointed. And I most certainly hope you enjoy your holiday season. However you celebrate, whatever you do, enjoy the next couple of weeks where a lot of you probably have off work and aren't doing a whole lot. But even if you are, enjoy it anyway. I appreciate your company, friends. I'll see you in the next video. Looking grand.